everybody. Welcome to Kudos MD. My name is Dr. Ta. Welcome to our program today. We're going to discuss a very important topic. It is a viral infection that has killed over 12,000 Americans, causing over 22 million infections and over 800,000 admissions to the hospital so far, including almost 70 babies nationwide. No, I'm not talking about coronavirus. We have been talking about coronavirus for about 2 months, and frankly, I want to give it some rest right now because it's getting so much attention worldwide, and nobody's talking about the most important infection currently going on right now in the United States, which is influenza virus. And this virus kills hundreds of thousands of Americans every year, causing upwards of 800 to a million admissions to the hospital, and sometimes cost upward of 45 to 65 million infection a year, and we tend to forget about it. So we know that influenza virus has multiple families members, but the main ones are influenza A, B, and C. We tend not to hear much about the influenza C because it's not clinically more common compared to the A and the B. And the A and the B are also the main ingredients in each year's vaccine forecast by the CDC. Now we know that this particular virus, if you look at the genetic component, it has an RNA. That's what it looks like. And you see those little spikes from the outside? That one's a microscopic picture and that one's a cartoon. The little spikes outside, they are called protein spikes, and there are two types of protein spikes. The first one is called hemagglutinin H, and the second one is neuraminidase N. So every year, the nomenclature of this particular H and N, or different protein spikes on the outer surface of virus, change. This is why you get H1N1, H5N1, H3N2, H7N3, different nomenclature. This particular year, the influenza virus A has H1N1, and the influenza B has different types, either from Japan, Yamagata in Japan, from Victoria in Canada, or Kansas in the United States. So in the summer of every year, the CDC helps to forecast which type of influenza virus that they think will infect the most people worldwide. And based on that forecast, they recommend the component of each vaccine. This is why you keep getting a different one every year. And the answer to the question, does my last year flu vaccine immune me this year? The answer is not really, because the strain changes yearly or almost yearly. Influenza type A caused worldwide pandemic. Okay, the last one was 2009, and the deadliest one was in 1918, which was the Spanish flu. Now, the peak season of this virus happens sometime in the fall and the winter of every year. Some year it starts pretty early, and sometimes it finishes pretty late, and vice versa, depending on the year. The symptoms of influenza, as you know, can cause very high fever, cough, sore throat, runny nose, muscle pain, headache, fatigue, anorexia, which means that you don't want to eat. And in children, it can cause vomiting and diarrhea. Now, when people go to the clinic and see their primary care or emergency room or urgent care because of these symptoms, often if the symptoms are severe enough, or if you have comorbidities or you're old, your doctor or your healthcare provider can do a nasal swab. And the nasal swab basically needs the secretion in the nose to test for the influenza A and influenza B in the clinic. And the result comes back roughly about 10 to 15 minutes later. It is important to understand that these tests have a false positive rate of about 10 to 15%. So if you are tested positive for flu and you are tested within a 48 to 72 hour window or a 24 to 72 hour window, there are treatment available to treat this flu. And these are the 4 particular medications approved by the FDA for the treatment of influenza in the United States. The question is, who needs this? Who needs these medications? The answer is not everybody. If you're healthy, if you don't have any medical problems, you have no comorbidities, and you are a healthy individual and you're not having any type of autoimmune problem or immunocompromised status, you really don't need to take these medications. Drink a lot of water, treat the symptoms of stuffy nose and sore throat with antipyretics, stay home for several days, cover yourself, wash your hands frequently because that's how you transmit the virus, by the droplets in the nose, the throat, and the hands, and usually you're going to get better within several days. You don't need to take these medications if your symptoms are mild and you're healthy. Usually you're able to beat this virus and let your immune system work itself. Talk about the vaccine of influenza. So this year in 2019-2020, the vaccine is what we call quadrivalent vaccine. It means that in the vaccine, there are 4 different types of strains of the virus. And this year, the CDC has so far reported 99% of type A influenza are responsible by H1N1. And 99% of type B influenza are the Victoria from Canada strain. Unfortunately, the influenza type B vaccine doesn't really contain the strain. So perhaps the influenza type B will be much more common compared to the A because the vaccine does contain the H1N1 strain in there. So this is a pyramid by the CDC. As you can see, the severity of the flu that it causes every year, which is much more serious in the United States at least, compared to the coronavirus being talked about worldwide and getting all the attention worldwide. As you can see, it can kill tens of thousands of Americans and sometimes upwards of hundreds of thousands of Americans directly or indirectly. Does vitamin C help with the prevention of influenza A? The answer is maybe. There is really no double-blind study that confirmed the efficacy of vitamin C in the prevention of flu. There are some mild evidence that indicate that it can help with the symptoms. So these are the brief information about influenza virus. We can talk for hours about this particular virus. I just want to bring it up to your attention. It's important to get the vaccine. It is important to stay informed. It's important to know there is a vaccine for it. It is important to understand the prevention and the treatment of this virus. And I hope you find that this information is helpful. And I hope to see you again in my next video. And thank you very much for listening in.